Every Baphomet target reviewed, go. Folks, Duelist Nexus has been released to the public, and with it the Chimera Fusion archetype, including Big-Winged Baphomet. If you are not aware, I am the biggest Burf. I'm the biggest Burf. I'm the biggest Burf. And Big-Winged Baphomet says, if this card is normal or special summon, you can add one level 4 Beast Monster and Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand, and locks you into fusions. Now normally what you're supposed to do is search Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws, which has a similar effect with a much smaller pool of targets that would be much more feasible for a reasonably length YouTube video, but that's not what we do here. Today we're going to be going over every single card you can search with Big-Winged Baphomet to find out if there's any merit to any of them at all. And as you know from our other previous videos similar to this one, I'm gonna be here a while. I am Berserk Gorilla. Look at my arms. Man. Work at the airport has its perks. So Berserk Gorilla did have some utility way back in the day as just a big guy. He's kind of been power crept by Gene Warped Warwolf and shit. I don't know, maybe someday they'll make like a Berserk archetype to go with Berserk Gorilla. I don't know, he's kind of feels like he's been lost to time. History has moved on without him. Heraldic Beast Leo. During the end phase of the turn this card was normal summon, destroy this card. When this card is sent to the graveyard, add one Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to your hand, except Heraldic Beast Leo. So like, this is a good card, right? This is like fine. I've read Heraldic Beast cards before, and I think this is legitimately the closest thing they have to a good one, which makes it a bad one, because it only searches bad cards. So it's like a paradox. It's a good card that's good because it searches bad cards. But I guess in that vein, if they make Heraldic Beast support, Leo is going to be a part of that conversation still. Scrap Kong. When this card is normal summoned, destroy it. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can select one scrap monster in your graveyard except Scrap Kong and add it to your hand. Why have we had two big gorillas with 2,000 attack so far that destroy themselves? Are level 4 beasts like all the same, do you think? So this is like a slightly better version of Berserk Gorilla and a slightly worse version of Heraldic Leo. That's the gimmick for this one. Every bonfire target was a goat card. Every invoker target wants to destroy monsters by battle. And every birth target is a 2,000 attack point monster that destroys itself. So true. We're 3 for 3 so far. Let me guess. You're gonna destroy yourself? Hinezumi Hanabi. Every time I read this card, the information just whoops out of my brain. I've read this card 100 times preparing for this video. No idea what it does. Cannot be used as material for a fusion, synchro, exceeds, or link summon. If this card is normal or special summon, place 6 counters on it. Once per turn during your end phase, give control of this card to your opponent. Once per turn, if control this face-up card with a counter changes, roll a 6-sided die. This keeps getting better and better. Roll a 6-sided die, remove as many counters from this card as possible, up to the result, and if all of this card's counters are removed by this effect, destroy this card and take 2,000 damage. It did. 4 for 4. This card is the most convoluted. This is. Oh my! What is it? I've already forgotten what it does. Ape Fighter. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, this card gains 300 attack. If this card does not attack during your turn, the attack gained from this effect returns to 0 during the end phase of that turn. This one would fit in very well with the invoker targets. I don't really know what he's doing here. I guess what you can do is like use Chimera during your opponent's end phase to summon this back out, and then on your turn you have a 1900 beat stick that gets bigger. I'm making excuses for a card, like a fucking beatdown card from Battle Pack 2 or whatever. I don't know why I'm doing that. Flamvel Fire Dog. Is this just gonna be like the Simo episode? Are we just gonna like go through all of Simo's cards here? When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you special summon one fire monster with 200 or less defense from your deck except Flamvel Fire Dog. So this is what we do, is we get a deck that incorporates Bonfire, Baphomet, and MX Saber Invoker, and this is going to be like one of the linchpins. This is going to summon a Pyro monster from deck, and then that Pyro monster will decrease this thing's level so that you can make Invoker. There we go. All right, we're thinking. Now we've actually got some critical thinking going to get these cards to work. ZW Unicorn Spear. Every time we go through a ZW, I'm obligated to remind you that this was too strong for rotation format. Remember, this is too strong. The strongest they could handle was Sleipnir Mail. You can target one number C39 Utopia Ray you control. Equip this card from your hand to that target. It gains 1900 attack. If the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster, the opponent's monster's effect is negated during the battle phase only. That's like kind of interesting. Like I used to like not really respect any effect that said battle phase on it, but I don't know, this kind of makes it like what's it called? Kashtira Scareclaw, and that comes up sometimes. There's like interesting things you can do with that. I used this as an out to Grand Mole during that one Master Duel trial thing. I know something you could do with like Kashtira Scareclaw is you can attack with basically anything into something like a... the example someone used was Obelisk, because it has 4,000 attack and can't be targeted. So you could attack it with Scareclaw, then during that window when Obelisk is negated, you go Arise Heart to banish the Obelisk. Flying Elephant, this is easily the funniest card in the game. That probably, like, whatever, like... You couldn't possibly get funnier than this card. Once per opponent's turn, if this card would be destroyed by their card effect, it is not destroyed. Once per turn during their end phase, if that effect was applied this turn, apply the following effect. During your next turn, if this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you win the duel. It literally wins you the game. Like, we're not getting a better card. You can cut the feed right now. We're not getting a better card than this. Alright, so here's the plan, is you make your full Chimera board, your opponent activates, let's say, Raigeki, Lightning Storm, something like that. You chain King of the Phantom Beasts in the graveyard to summon back the Flying Elephant. Now, they've unwittingly triggered Flying Elephant's effect to make it not destroyed by that effect, and therefore able to apply the effect that will later allow you to activate the effect that, when you attack, wins the duel. Think about it! I think in the history of the game, they could not come up with a more convoluted win con than this. I think there's combos that are more convoluted than just resolving Flying Elephant, but there's no singular card that wins the game in a just naturally more stupid, complicated way than Flying Elephant. But it wins the game. Beast Striker. Once per turn, you can discard one card to special summon one Moja from your deck. Now, Moja is not very good. When this card is destroyed by battle, add a level 4 beast monster from graveyard to hand, so that's a little recursion, I don't think about it. I think what is worth noting, though, is, like, this still summons from deck. Like, if you want to, like, make Farragut, this makes Farragut, I guess. Beast Link. Think about it. I don't know, I mean, it summons a terrible card, but, like, it summons from deck. That's a good effect. Vampiric Koala. Now, if you heard, recently in Soul Burning Volcano, they had to reprint Volcanic Eruption to say that it's not a volcanic card now that those are searchable. And similarly, back when they made Vampire support, they had to take a bunch of Vampire cards out of the Vampire archetype. And that's why there's a bunch of Vampiric cards, like Vampiric Koala now. If this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by battle with a monster, gain life points equal to the battle damage inflicted. Yeah, it's not very good. That's what's great about all these erratas to take cards out of archetypes, is they're always garbage. They're always like, what would it matter? It's always slime. It's like, this card might as well be a normal monster like Slimetoad. Slimetoad is better than this card because it's a rescue rabbit target you can make totally awesome with. Armored White Bear. If this card is normal or special summon while a Synchro monster is on the field, you can target one field spell in your graveyard, add it to your hand. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one level 4 or lower beast monster from your deck or graveyard. Oh, so now we're going lower than 4. Oh, okay, Mr. Fancy Pants. I'm pretty sure this card is explicitly support for Luna's AFD deck from 5Ds. And the reason it adds back a field spell from graveyard is because the idea is you would use Ancient Fairy Dragon to pop a field spell and search a different one, and then Armored White Bear could be summoned from hand with AFD effect or just by normal summoning it to add back the field spell you popped, so you could like loop it. You could like loop Dragon Ravine, for example. That's kind of interesting. I've been hoping for a while that they make some sort of support for Luna's deck. I don't really remember most of it. We're gonna see some of it in here. We got Sunlight Unicorn. For convenience, I've bunched up all the Crystal Beasts in one place. Amber Mammoth and Topaz Tiger suck. I've talked about how much they suck before. They really suck. Their advanced versions really suck. They suck because they're minor upgrades from these terrible cards that also kill themselves for no reason. Sapphire Pegasus is still a good card for Crystal Beast, and Advanced Sapphire Pegasus is still probably the best Advanced Crystal Beast. I don't think you're searching those with Baphomet though. Although I will say, one of the things Crystal Beast can do is they have like their Rainbow Dragon fusion monsters. So yeah, so you can still summon Over Dragon and Rainbow Dragon Overdrive under the Baphomet lock. That's not bad. Shining ZW Fenrir Sword. Reminder, too strong for rotation format. It was too good. When this card is normal summon, you can target one ZW monster you control that is an equip card. Special summon that target in defense position. You can target one Utopia you control, equip this card from your hand. When the equipped monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can target one ZW monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. So this is like recursion for ZWs. That's odd. Normally Utopia doesn't really want to run more than one or two ZWs. One for the Pegasus Negate, and one for something to search with Armed Sage, or as an alternate target for Leo Utopia Ray in case you draw the Pegasus, because you can't equip that from hand. But it also has this weird effect to summon a ZW from the back row. So like, during your opponent's turn, you use like a level 4 ZW as some form of protection, and then on turn 3 you could summon Fenrir Sword to get that level 4 to the field, and then you can make a rank 4 with them. I guess that's kind of what they're going for. Very strange effect that I don't really see much of a point of. I can't even really imagine in my head what the functional use of this was, and I think this was in like the Zexal manga. It's Fenrir though. You could search Fenrir. There, we got a clickbait for the title. It can search Fenrir. Sunlight Unicorn. Once per turn, you can activate the top card of your deck, and if it is an equipped spell card, add it to your hand. Otherwise, place it on the bottom of your deck. More Durandal! Woo! Stove is right though. You can search Fenrir and Unicorn. Now I understand why Kashtira Chimera as a deck people are playing. It's totally real, 100%. Voltic Kong. Is the entirety of Battle Pack 3 gonna be in this video? What's going on? When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, send one card from the top of your opponent's deck to the graveyard for each face-up white monster you control. Great. Iron Chains. At least he doesn't destroy himself. Gladiator Beast Tigerius? Is that Tiberius plus Tiger? Fuck you. Cannot be used as a fusion material. Fuck you. When this card is special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast monster, you can discard one Gladiator Beast to add a Gladiator Beast from your deck to your hand. Sure. It's a Gladiator Beast that doesn't tag out and also can't be used to make one of their fusions, so he kind of just sits there. I guess you can make Test Panther with him. So I guess what you would kind of do is you would go like normal Gladiator Beast, summon Test Tiger, use Test Tiger to tag out that Glad Beast into Tigerius. Tigerius searches. You already had two bodies, you could already make Test Panther. You know what else makes Test Panther? MX Saber and Vulgar Baby! Oh, you were talking about like Glad Beasts. Okay, I didn't know Glad Beasts could make their own Link monster. That's news to me. Performapal Silverclaw. Pendulum effect. Performapals gain 300. Monster effect. When this card declares an attack, Performapals gain 300. Anyone here want 300? I don't need it. Do you want 300? Alright, what about Gold Fang? Once per turn, if your Performapal destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 1000. If this card is normal or special summon, all Performapal monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of this turn. Now see, this is what I was looking for, is any level 4 beast that does something on summon. So that during your opponent's turn, you can go Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, banish itself from graveyard, reborn whatever level 4 you used, and then trigger some sort of effect. But all this does is make itself 2,000. It makes itself 2K. So we're gonna see if we can find something a little better than that. At least it doesn't destroy itself. Dark Zebra. The Dark Zebra. The Dark Zebra. The Dark Zebra. This is the only monster card you control during your standby phase. It is changed to defense position. You cannot change the battle position of this card during the same turn. This card is going to go so hard in Sealed Metal Raiders or wherever the fuck it's from. Flame Tiger. So we had a Dark Zebra and now a Fire Tiger. What's next? Are we gonna get like a water lion? A wind gorilla? We did have a Voltic Kong. Does that count as light? During your draw phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you control no monsters, instead of conducting your normal draw, you can special summon this card, and if you do, banish it when it leaves the field. That's like not terrible, you know. If all the cards in your deck are bad, you might as well just replace them with this free body, this terrible Treeborn Frog, this god-awful Immortal Bushi. That guy. They made Immortal Bushi support recently. Did you guys see that? The fabled. No, we're not making the joke today. No. We're not making the joke. We're not gonna make the joke. We're not gonna say it. All right. The fabled cock. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, discard a fabled monster, draw one card. This is just a worse version of the Cuckoo Force to Croon. Desmanian Devil. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can add one level 4 lower beast monster from your deck to your hand. Okay. Okay, shoddy, okay. This is like actual follow-up, right? You can summon this back with Chimera, and then attack over an opponent's monster to search Gazelle, and why didn't you just search Gazelle and summon it with Chimera? Okay, yeah, we also got all the Bujin cards here. I looked through all these. They're all specifically for like Bujin shit. Oh, here we go. Other Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast type monsters you control can't be destroyed by battle. Okay, this protects Guardian Chimera from being destroyed by battle. That's actually huge in my opinion. That's very big. That's major. Scrap Orthros. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand while you control a scrap monster. If summoned this way, target one scrap monster you control, destroy it. At least he doesn't need to destroy himself. Sometimes he can destroy someone else, like me in all my relationships. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can target one scrap monster in your graveyard except Scrap Orthros. Add that target to your hand. I'm pretty sure that that's just a better Scrap Kong, right? He just does the same shit that Scrap Kong does, but he special summons himself. He doesn't need to kill himself. He can not do that. What is going on? Here's the problem: is he has 1700 attack. See, he needs plus 300, right, guys? Regulus. Oh my God! It can search Regulus. All right, now I need to do a pog face for the thumbnail for when I say that. Is that good? Fierce Tiger Monghu. All monsters on the field lose 500 attack. Once per turn during your main phase, you can destroy all monsters on the field with less attack than this card. We will get to Fierce Tiger Wonghu later, but this also sort of has its own unique purpose where it doesn't protect your shit by battle the way that Bujingi Wolf would do, but it does lower all your opponent's shit so that maybe they can't get quite as close to attacking over your cards. It lowers yours too. Shut the fuck up. No, shut the fuck up. Okay, so we're pivoting. What has 2100? Cyber Dragon. If your opponent summons Cyber Dragon, they can't attack over Monghu. Think about it. Okay, so Spring Ant's Kit is actually like one that people have talked about a lot before. Because what you can do is with Branded Fusion, you send Gazelle, and since you've already gotten Gazelle into rotation, now you're free to use your Baphomet search on a branded card, which will be Spring Ant's Kit. And then Spring Ant's Kit can search another branded card like Branded in White or Branded Lost to continue your branded plays. Now, a lot of Chimera players are noticing that the branded engine doesn't really make as much sense as just playing it pure with non-engine cards. And some people are even actually playing Kashtira in it. That wasn't really a joke. This is the Heroic Challenger Morningstar of the video. Yeah, and even then, I think, unlike Morningstar, which has already seen a bit of success in the OCG, I think this one's also gonna die out. I don't think Branded Chimera is very real. King Tiger Wonghu. When a monster with 1400 or less attack is normal summoned or special summoned, destroy those monsters with 1400 or less attack. This card must be face up on the field to activate and to resolve its effect. This is another real one. This is actually closer to the Morningstar of this video because I think any Chimera deck is at least going to be siding this card because it's legitimately a good thing to summon back with King of the Phantom Beasts during your opponent's turn to like pop all their Purilies or whatever, or Sprite cards. This pops. Another fun anecdote about Wonghu is that like during Nationals format of 2022, a play that was kind of making the rounds was using Tri-Brigade Aerial Assault to target your Wandering Griffin Rider and summon Wonghu from deck. And it would be negated during your turn, but the negation wears off, so during your opponent's turn, Wonghu will be live and will pop. I don't actually remember what was good at the time that Wonku was trying to pop, but it would pop it. Fencing Fire Fairy. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, target one monster your opponent controls, destroy that target, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. See, here's the combo, is you summon this with King of the Phantom Beasts, of course, and then activate. Oops! Pop your own Fire Ferret. Fire Ferret triggers to pop their card. It's genius. It's peak. I guess you could like pop it with DP, and then you just get 2 pops with DP instead of 1. Is DP good in Chimera, do you think? Is that something we could build? Scrap Chimera. Chimera reference! Cannot be used as synchro material. That's fine. We're not synchro summoning. We're fusion summoning, of course. When this card is normal summon, you can target 1 scrap tuner in your graveyard, special summon that target. Okay, and you can get a scrap tuner in your graveyard by fusing it away for Chimera King of the Phantom Beasts. Okay. Now you got a normal summon that can get 2 bodies on board to make Guardian Chimera with. Think about it. Okay, we got a plan here. Ignore the other text on Scrap Chimera that actually gives it away to Synchro, so we don't need that. Aloof Lupine. When this card is normal summon, you can banish 1 monster from your hand, banish 1 monster from your deck with the same type as that monster. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, target one of your banished monsters adds. This is something I've kind of beat around the bush with all the other ones because they're bad for other reasons. But the fact that this only triggers on normal summon is really bad. That's not very good. What would you banish from your hand in this deck? They are getting the new Berthomet Fusion that can summon back banished cards, so maybe you could do something with that. It sounds like crap though. Sounds garbage. Scrap Beast, a tuner, targetable with Scrap Chimera. If this face-up defense position card is targeted for an attack at the end of the battle phase, destroy this card. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, target a scrap monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. Are these all gonna do the same thing? Are these all like gonna do the same shit all day long? What is going on? They're not sending their best. Is that Doug Dimikari, owner of the Gladiator Beast Dimikari? If this card was special summoned by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, it can attack twice during each battle phase. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, return it to the deck to special summon a Gladiator Beast. Alright, so you need to summon it and then wait an entire turn before it gets to attack twice with 1600. So you can attack over 2 Celtic Guardians. It's crazy. The Trojan Horse. This card can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of an Earth monster. You can summon Metal Armored Bug! Performapal Longphone Bull. If this card is special summon, you can add 1 Performapal monster from your deck to your hand, except a Pendulum monster. Remind me, I gotta add this to my list of cards with actually reasonable amount of search targets to do for this show. I briefly looked at all the possible targets. I think they're all garbage. I think they all might be some of the worst cards ever. I was hoping maybe one of them would be like a shitty hand trap, so you could, you know, summon it during your opponent's turn, get your search, and then whatever the search target does, you can search another copy of itself. Okay, we're on to something. Chain Dog. Cannot be used as a synchro material, but don't worry, we're not synchro summoning. If this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card, and if you do banish it when it leaves the field, you must control exactly 2 beast monsters to activate and to resolve this effect. Alright, so here's the plan. King of the Phantom Beasts is a beast type monster. So you can go like summon. The gears are turning in my head on how to get the second beast on the field. At what point do we consider cheating? Yeah, so Mirror Sword Knight is a beast type monster. Don't look at the card. You're just covering it with your hands so your opponent can. You buy a copy in like German or something. Nobody speaks German. Good old facts of the Nordic beasts. If your opponent controls a synchro monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. I love bad Cyber Dragons. I love when they just add more stipulations to Cyber Dragon. Remember back in the day when like level 4 tuners had to be dog shit to compensate for being a good level for a tuner? Nowadays you have level 4 tuners that just like do everything. They just do whatever the hell you want in the game. If a player from 2009 saw Rocket Tracer, they would immediately disintegrate. Bazoo the Soul Leader. Remember when like this was a good card? I miss those days. Anyone want 300? I've got 300. I don't need the 300. Do you want 300? It's always take 800 and never gain 300, you know? TG Rush Rhino. If this card attacks, it gains 400. Oh, 400, Mr. Fancy Pants. Okay. Once returned during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent there this turn, add a TG monster from your deck to your hand. Yeah, this was like the TG gimmick back in the day, was they were all very bad Skarm. Yeah, nowadays the new TG support just says special summon 5 TG monsters from deck, and the deck is still like mid. Dynatherium. This one's also not bad just because it summons itself. I guess if you wanted to play this in Chimera, the thesis statement behind it would be like, you can pick whether you want a card in hand to fuse for Guardian Chimera, or a card on field to fuse for Guardian Chimera, because it just summons itself very freely, so you either hold it in hand or summon it, done for no cost. Spiritual Beast Rampengu. You know, every single time we've done one of these, I'm pretty sure there's been a Ritual Beast card, and I still don't know what Ritual Beasts actually do, so I keep saying, oh, I don't know, it's another name. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not, I wouldn't know. Once returned, you can banish a Ritual Beast from your extra deck, send a Ritual Beast with the same type as that monster from your deck to the graveyard. Okay, so it is a fusion-based deck. That's better than a lot. These have been a lot of synchro-based cards, so seeing a fusion-based beast monster deck, I don't know, maybe it's good, maybe it is, maybe if you search a Ritual Beast, it can't be bad, right guys? Des Kangaroo. At the end of the damage step, if this defense position monster was attacked by an opponent's monster whose attack is lower than this card's defense, destroy that attacking monster. You can pop Dimakari. Anyway, does anyone remember Kangaroo Jack? If you don't know the story behind Kangaroo Jack, they made like a crime movie that was intended to be rated R, and they realized it sucked at the last minute, but there was a scene where they trip on acid in the desert and think that the kangaroo is talking. And they realized, okay, we could pretend that the movie is about a talking kangaroo and put that in the trailer and make it a PG movie and have all the kids go see it. And we'll just edit out all the times they say fuck off. They say fuck you, C. Am I allowed to say the C word? Not that C, not the MBT C word, the other one. Blackout card, fuck you. Gishki Beast! Wait, let me do what he's doing. It's more like a... When this card is normal summon, you can target one level 4 or lower Gishki monster in your graveyard, special summon it in face-up defense position. Okay. Okay, it's Wolfbark. That's not bad. That's not terrible. Maybe we can... Maybe if there's another beast-type Gishki, we can do something with that? Fuck you, intended search target. You have no business here. Get out of here. Fuck off. Doomstar Ulka. That's what I like to see. When exactly one monster you control and no other monsters leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard. If that monster is in the graveyard or banished face up, special summon it. Otherwise, special summon this banished card. If this card is special summon, you can make this card gain 1500 attack until the end of the next turn. So this is actually like a tech that a couple Chimera players have considered. The idea behind it, to briefly summarize what it's saying, is if your opponent outs your boss monster, you can banish this card from hand or graveyard to just summon your boss monster right back. But if that monster goes to an unknown information location for like the deck or hand, instead it will just summon itself and become a 3k beat stick. Like, okay, you lost your boss monster, but I'll pretend to be a boss monster. I'll be Blue Eyes. I'll make myself look big so that the opponent will be scared. But generally speaking, it's just like, oh, if your opponent Raigekis you, you get to summon your Baron back. So I guess the idea here is you would fuse this off for King of the Phantom Beasts, and then fuse King of the Phantom Beasts off for either Guardian Chimera, Illusion Chimera, or like Magnum the Reliever. And if your opponent outs your big fusion monster, like by like a Lightning Storm, you can use Ulka, banish itself from graveyard to summon back your monster. But if they evenly you, then Ulka can like banish himself and be like a big guy. I guess like if your opponent evenlies you, you keep your set Chimera fusion, Ulka summons itself, and then you still can make Guardian Chimera with 2 monsters in hand. That's not that bad. It's not that good, though. It's kind of like a weird form of protection. It's not... It's like... It's not better Bale Links, but it's slightly different Bale Links, if you think about it. Nefarious Archfiend, Eater of Nefariousness. If you control a spellcaster monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn during your opponent's end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 face-up monster you control, destroy it if you do special summon this card. Okay, so you pop Fencing Fire Ferret, and then pop an opponent's card. Oh my god. So we've talked about the familiars on this show before. I think they're a really cool type of card. They're mostly good for like making rank 4s though, and we're not doing that, we're fusion summoning. What I do like about it though is like what you could do is summon Baphomet during your opponent's turn with the Mirror Swordsman that you get as part of your combo. So you could summon that during your opponent's turn, but then since you don't really need it on field for anything, you could pop that to summon back the Nefarious Archfiend, and I don't know, maybe you could do rank 4 plays because you won't be fusion locked anymore once it gets back to your turn. Giant Rat. That rat's so fucking big, man. This rat is so big you can't even imagine. I've actually wondered for a while, is Giant Rat like larger than humans, or is he just like bigger than a rat should be? I think he's like about 4'11", if I had to guess. Like that's where I think he is. I think he's like a lot bigger than a normal rat. Like if you saw it, you'd be like, that's a really, really big rat. But he's not like bigger than me. I'd still be scared of it. I'd be scared of what like a rat that big could do. But he's not like a giant. He's a giant rat. I think he could ride a roller coaster. For sure. Because there's rare! This card can only special summon by removing 2 water monsters from your graveyard from play. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, your opponent skips his or her next draw phase. It's like a water chaos monster that is sort of like Yada, but doesn't work against non-binary people. That's good to know. That's like a good tech, is they, them pronouns. What do you think, guys? Is they, them good, this format? My story about this card is that when I was like 6 years old, I had a copy of this card in deck, but I didn't have any other water monsters. So what I would do is I would just look at the bottom of my deck while I was like shuffling to like make sure it was on the bottom. And my brother kept telling me not to do that. And I just kept doing it because, you know, I didn't want to fucking draw that shit. It didn't occur to me to just take it out of the deck. I was probably on 54 cards. I could have done it. Hypnocorn. When this card is normal summoned, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no other monsters, you can target 1 set spell or trap on the field, pop it. Genuinely think this would have some sort of interesting application in Chimera if it triggered on special summon. For some reason, it only triggers on normal summon, so it's garbage. You heard it right. You can clip this and quote me out of context. I think Hypnocorn is garbage. X-Saber Garsum. When this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by a card effect, add 1 X-Saber monster from your deck to your hand. Oh. Okay, that's okay. I mean, he doesn't pop himself like Heraldic Beast Leo or like Scrap Kong, but sure, I'll take it. It's kind of weird. It feels like this should say by battle. It feels like it was from that era where like battle recruiters were still a thing. So like a battle recruiter that just searched instead of summoning was still like acceptable. But instead, it just they decided, no. This one's gonna age a little bit better. Pandemonium Watchbear. As long as this card remains face up on your side of the field, Pandemonium on your side of the field is not destroyed by your opponent's card effects. What does Pandemonium even do? It's gotta do something else besides make Chess Archfiends suck less. Neither player has to pay life points during the standby phase for Archfiend monsters. When an Archfiend monster is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, except by battle, its owner can add 1 Archfiend monster from their deck to their hand with a lower level. And you know, this is a beast, and the Archfiends are fiends. The gears are turning. Okay, Shoddy. Okay. Assault Dog. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon any number of Assault Dog from deck. What a weird card. It floats into more of itself. So it's like, it's not as good as Giant Rat, but it summons more monsters than Giant Rat. So if you like set this turn 1 and your opponent just attacks over it, you get to make a rank 4 during your next turn. Remember that next time you run a weird-ass Prague series with your weird friends. Treasure Panda! You can banish up to 3 spells and traps from your graveyard face down, special summon 1 normal monster from your deck whose level equals the number of cards banished to activate this effect. So this is actually like mildly interesting. I guess if you wanted to summon like OG Gazelle from deck, you could. You could summon summon Moki Moki from deck. You can summon the Exodia pieces. I actually played a deck right after I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Called Panda Express. And the reason it was called Panda Express was mostly revolving around Treasure Panda summoning the Exodia pieces and then bouncing them back to hand with Firewall Dragon. But also the joke was that the combo was so long, your opponent could leave and go use the bathroom because the Panda Express they got gave them the shits. Super Nimble Mega Hamster, Super Nimble Mega Hamster, Super Nimble Mega Hamster! Heraldic Beast Unicorn. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target one Psychic type Xyz monster in your graveyard, special summon it, its effects are negated. Why would I do that? Let's look at all the Psychic type Xyz monsters. Every Psychic Xyz monster is reviewed. Oh! Blow sus! Blow! Sus! Shangri Era's a psychic? I don't even know. Is this literally Kashtira support? It's Unicorn, supports psychic type Xyz monsters. Redoer is the one that Heraldic Beasts typically go for. Watch Final Dimax if you're confused. These are the actual Heraldic cards. I'm not seeing a reason I would summon them back if they're gonna be negated, but okay, cool. Whatever. Amazonas Tiger. You can only control one tiger, gains 400 attack for each Amazonas you control, and your opponent's monsters cannot attack Amazonas monsters. This is the first time I have ever willingly read an Amazonas card on this show, and it will be the last time. The Fabled Ruby Ruda. When this face-up card you control is selected as an attack target, you can discard one Fabled monster and negate the attack. I mean, it triggers Fables. There's nothing. The one thing you could say about Fabled cards is that they do trigger Fabled. Performapal's Second Donkey. When this card is normal or special summon, you can send one Performapal monster to your graveyard, or if you have 2 cards in your Pendulum Zones, you can add it to your hand instead. What happened to the first Donkey? There is another Donkey, right? Yeah, it's Friend Donkey and Second Donkey. Friend Donkey is... it's either Goblinberg or Wolfbark. Now, I remember Second Donkey being, like, good in... what, like, Pepe? They played it in Dracopal? Yeah. I remember, that's where I remember it from, is at the end of, near the end of Toss, I watched Farfa's Dracopal video and just got really invested in that deck for no reason. And almost bought into it as like a casual deck to bring to locals, and then Electromite got banned. So, we don't play Dracopal no more. I guess Draco is sort of back, but I don't think they play Performapals. They play... oh, they got folded in with the Magician bullshit. Thousand Needles. When this defense position card is attacked, and if the defense of this card is higher than the attack of the attacking monster, destroy that monster at the end of the damage step. Yeah, this is better Death Kangaroo. I get why Stove hates Death Kangaroo now. Let's count all the needles. Hey, wait a minute! Heraldic Beast. I give up. If you control 2 or more Heraldic Beast monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, another actually okay card, but it's for Heraldic Beasts. So what gives? I feel like I'm going crazy here. Like, we'll see good Heraldic Beast card, terrible Heraldic Beast card, good Heraldic Beast card, but then nothing will ever come of it. Like, it's not like we're going to realize Heraldic Beast is actually good.
The box on these cards is for Psychic and Machine monsters, and these just kind of fit natural.
Another Heraldic Beast. After damage calculation, destroy any opponent's monster that battles this card. See, now we got a bad card. We're back. We're so fucking back. Sleipnir Mail. Now this is some rotation breaking Yu-Gi-Oh! You can target one Utopia monster you control, equip this card from your hand or your side of the field to that target. It gains 1,000. When this card you control is sent to your graveyard because the equipped monster was destroyed by your opponent's card, you can target one Utopia monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. So this is like terrible Ulka. This is like when your opponent outs your Utopia, you get to summon it back. But it will be summoned back without the ZW, so if you summon back Leo, then it doesn't do anything. If you summon back OG Utopia, it doesn't have any materials, so it pops itself whenever it's attacked. If you summon back Dragonar, it has no materials. If you summon back what's the purpose here? What are we doing? Are you bringing him back so you can equip him with a different ZW? How many ZWs are you on, buddy? Majigire Panda. Each time a beast monster on the field is destroyed, this card gains 500 attack. I know a couple of beast monsters that will destroy themselves. Don't you worry. We're gonna get this thing to. This is gonna be the first monster to ever achieve 1 Pandillion attack points. Garmer of the Nordic Beasts. If this card battles a level 4 or lower monster, after damage calculation, you can return that monster to the hand. Great, so we have terrible Grand Mole. That's good. I'm glad. Performapal Camel Lump. Oh my god, that's a lot of words. During your main phase 1, target a face-up monster control. Monster your opponent controls lose 800. Targeted monster attacks, piercing. If this card is destroyed by Bell, everyone take 800 right now. Everyone just take 800. Everyone lose 800 there. Bicorn Riem. Finally, some bi-representation in the Baphomet community. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material monster for a synchro summon, send the top 2 cards from your opponent's deck to the graveyard. Why are we still milling our Why do we want to trigger our opponent's Tearlaments so bad? What is going on? ZW Sylphid Wing. You can target 1 Utopia monster you control, equip this card from your hand or field to it. It gains 800 attack. Once per turn, if a monster is special summoned by your opponent's activated effect, you can make the equipped monster gain 1600 attack. If you activate the equipped monster's effect by detaching its material, you can send this card to the graveyard instead of one of those materials. I know this card for the dumbest fucking reason. Alright, let me break it down. In Rogues format, we don't have access to Utopia Ray or Utopia Prime. Therefore, we can't make a 4-material Dragonar. So instead, what we have to do is use ZS Armed Sage to search Sylphid Wing, make a 3-mat Dragonar, equip it with Sylphid Wing, and use Sylphid Wing as one of its materials so that on our opponent's turn, we still have 2 materials on Dragonar to activate it a second time. This is an incredibly stupid card that could not possibly come up unless they ban multiple Utopia cards that don't do anything for no reason. Literally Utopia cards that their effects will never resolve. You will never, there's no actual point to them other than being another material. They're literally the equivalent of just putting another material on your Zodiac Trident. Kangaroo Champ. All right, now back onto the Kangaroo Jack Stunlock real quick. So Anthony Anderson was in this movie. Anthony Anderson later went on to be in the show Blackish. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the show Blackish, this was a show that had Lawrence Fishburne in it. Right? Lawrence Fishburne played Anthony Anderson's father, who would be in the show sometimes, but not all the time, because sometimes Lawrence Fishburne couldn't be on the show. Anyway, let's talk about Anthony Anderson's son in this show. Now, his name is Andre Jr. They call him Junior. In the beginning, the conflict, the quote-unquote conflict with his son is that Dre, Anthony Anderson's character, feels like because he, he's wealthier, he feels as though his family isn't as connected to the black experience as he was growing up, and as a result, his son wants to play field hockey. That's the first episode, is his son wants to play field hockey, and he's like, you can't play that. That's a sport for fucking white people. Anyway, later, as the show goes on, instead of this conflict, they kind of just move it towards his son being a fucking dork because it's easier to write. So there's one episode where his son is like playing Dungeons and Dragons, and he goes by Whistledorf, and Dre is trying to convince like his co-worker that his family is like really, I don't know, they have like a lot of street credit. I don't know. It was a weird episode. But his son comes down and he's wearing his wizard shit, and he says, "Dad, you have to call me Whistledorf after 8 p.m." And so Dre has this like pit bull for some reason, and he says, "Attack Whistledorf." So the point of this very long Kangaroo Jack Stunlock is to explain to you why sometimes I'll just say to myself, "Attack Whistledorf now!" I thought that was just like a deceit. All of my catchphrases have very, very long stories behind them that have to do with some semi-popular piece of media that I consumed between the ages of 7 and 15. That Kangaroo has the Drake fade. He kind of do, though. Alright, so Rescue Cat is well known to be a pretty good card. I'm not sure what you would do with it exactly in Chimera. I guess what you would do with it is you would summon it back for follow-up, and then overlay your 2 level 3s to summon MX Saber Invoker! Rescue Hamster is another card that I played in that Draco Pal list. I used to think it was, like, not as dog shit as it is. It tributes itself and then chooses a Pendulum monster in your extra deck. So what I thought you could do is just start your turn by tributing Hamster and choosing itself, and then summon 2 more Hamster from deck. But because you can't activate it unless you already have a Pendulum in extra deck, you have to set him up in order to use his effect. So he's actually garbage. Rescue Ferret is like a rare breed of card that only exists in YouTube videos. I don't actually think this card was ever printed. I think it was made for like El Exordio and Lithium to be like, yo, what's up guys? You can summon 3 monsters from deck that equal 6. I'm convinced there's like no way this is a real card. I think this card was invented to keep Turbo Tuesday afloat back in the day when MBT had more expenses and didn't have Twitter threads to get 400,000 views on. Rescue Rabbit, we're coming full circle. Remember earlier I mentioned Slime Toad. This card's kind of been outclassed, especially now that shit like Rescue Cat is back. I'm not sure what Rabbit is really doing that's better than Cat. I guess you could, like, it can summon 4s. It can still summon 4s. It can summon 2 copies of Gazelle. Think about it, that's pretty strong. Rescue Hedgehog is brand new, and therefore we haven't really seen anything about it. People, like, kind of hyped it up and then realized it was kind of bad. The one random thing that I thought about doing with this card is using it to summon some random level 3 beast, and then Mystical Sheep number 2. Number 1, actually, my bad. Number 2 is number 2 would be the normal monster. So you summon number 2 and number 1, and then you, I guess, fuse them off or link them off or whatever. But then Chimera summons back Mystical Sheep number 1, and you can use it as a fusion material for something like Mirror Jade or Millennium Eyes Restrict. If you have a dragon, you can summon Dragoon. Think about it. That's kind of crazy. Buster Gundeal the Cubic Behemoth. Must be special summoned by sending 3 cubic monsters you control to the graveyard and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If summoned this way, it gains 3,000 attack. Make a 2nd and 3rd attack during each battle phase. And if this card is sent to your graveyard by your opponent, you can target up to 3 cubic monsters in the graveyard and special summon them. Then add 1 cubic card from your deck to your hand. More like Buster Gun Dick, the Cube Dick, the Heat Dick! Oh! I guess this is something that I wish we had been able to talk about earlier in the video, is some sort of meaningful interaction with a 2nd archetype that would make splashing Chimera and something else worth it. And the only 2 we have found are like branded with Kit, and then I guess you could play this shit in Cubic if you're if you're like braver than the troops. It adds something to reveal for Crimson Nova. I guarantee you're not tributing 3 monsters to summon this janky triple attacking Blue Eyes. That ain't happening. So, what have we learned here today? That's right, nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. This has been an exercise in futility, and the best search target remains the intended one. I don't know how we keep coming to this conclusion. We actually never come to this conclusion. Bonfire doesn't have it. I guess Bonfire's intended search target is volcanic monsters, and then Invoker's intended summon target is any warrior monster to make a sold. I guess if you want to make a tier list, that's number 1. That's probably number 2. This is number 3. This is like a distant 4th. Did we find, sure, Dinotherium, and then all the rest of them. There. Flying Elephant, of course. Flying Elephant, number 1, best card of all time, probably the only card of all time if I had to say. If it were up to me, we would ban all the other beast monsters, and you would have to play Flying Beast Chimera.